Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel, to all of my videos, and I hope that you guys enjoy them, you learn from them, and you become the best version of yourself as much as possible. I am next to my parents' house in a park and I just love the setting, the green and the serenity, the peace, the calm, except for the airplanes that are going to go overhead. I really like doing the videos here, so I hope that you guys enjoy them as well. The change is always good. In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about how there is definitely something as, I think you can give the term social burnout. I think that's the kind of term that I use for it in my own head when I'm talking to myself. Recently, as you guys might know or might not know, I went for a trip to India to visit my family. Now my family is huge, and when I say huge, there's really a lot of people in my circle. My mom had 10 brothers and sisters, so there were 5 brothers, 5 sisters, including her. And my father has 3, including him. And so we have a lot of family still in India. I'm originally from India, and a lot of them are still back home, and they live there, no intention of moving anywhere else. We're the weird ones that moved out of the country. So we do go back occasionally, and this time around, as my mother was unwell, I went with them just to kind of give them a little bit of support, carry bags, things like that. And it's really interesting to me because I knew going in that, I am an INFJ. Not only that, I'm a major introvert. It might not come across as that right now. I'm talking to you guys. I can really pretend to be an extrovert, and I do have conversations with people all the time. But I do it in a very short period of time, right? I wake up in the morning and I do my work, and then I do a little bit of conversing with family or friends, and then I have to go back into my cave to retreat. I knew going into this trip, I knew that it would be 3 weeks of constant socialization. Constant. When I say constant, from the time I woke up in the morning, there were kids running around me and people talking to me, offering me tea and water and juice and food and breakfast and then lunch and then snacks and then more tea. Indian people love to drink their tea. And so from the time I woke up to the time I went to sleep, there was always someone around me, always a cacophony of noises and a symphony of music and the TV blaring and conversations. And I knew going in that was going to be the case. Doesn't mean necessarily that I was prepared for it. I kind of mentally tried to prepare myself for it, but really, is that possible? Can we ever really prepare ourselves for madness like that? So, I dealt with it as best as I could. I did go into moments of where I was completely burnt out and I had to lock the door in one of the random rooms and hide for a couple of hours or a few hours just so that I could recover from the madness, or put headphones on my head and put music really loud and just dance it out so I could get rid of the aggression or the restlessness I was feeling, the madness of being around people all the time, the madness of not knowing who I am anymore, because all of these different people and all their emotions and feelings was confusing me and causing me to think, who am I anymore? I don't actually even know. I am becoming a chameleon, and I don't know who my real self is anymore. And it kind of really brought up a lot of stuff for me. I spent a lot of time journaling and figuring out, is it this easy for me to fall apart? Is it this easy for me to give up on who I really am and forget what my really true stances are? And so that was a lot of interesting, self-reflection and observation. But I did realize, coming back home after 3 weeks of that, as soon as I got to my room and I closed the door, I literally breathed a sigh of relief, and I said to myself, I am completely and utterly exhausted. I was absolutely in social burnout mode. I've talked to you guys before about this. I don't even think I need to say this out loud. You guys probably have felt it in the past. If you are an introvert of any kind, there are obviously tiers of introvertedness. Some people are more introverted than others. Some INFJs are more introverted than others, than other INFJs. Some of them are more extroverted. I'm more on the extroverted scale. That's the reason I could handle the madness of 3 weeks and then come back and not want to kill myself that much. Only a little bit. But some other introverted INFJs might not be able to handle that much of conversation and that much of socialization. I definitely did feel the burnout though, because for the last week and a half or 10 days, I've been sitting in my room and staring off into space and doing my work. And literally, even if someone wants to talk to me or has a conversation with me, I want to sear them to the ground with a burning gray gaze and tell them to leave me alone, right? I literally cannot handle people anymore. Interestingly enough, a few family friends of ours visited yesterday, And it was really interesting to me because I could barely look them in the eye, because the minute I started looking them in the eye, it really mentally and physically exhausted me. And that's the point where I realized, that's the reason I'm doing this video right now. That's when I realized that I am absolutely socially burnt out right now. It's really interesting. I don't think I'm socially burnt out necessarily with friends, because I haven't seen friends in a while. I'm socially burnt out with family. And that was really interesting for me, because I think there's levels, obviously, of burnt outness, not a real word, but also there's levels in terms of, I'm not burnt out with friends yet. I want to hang out with friends. I want to have those conversations that I haven't had for 3 weeks, because I can't really have those conversations with people in India. The things that I talk to my friends about, they won't get it. They just, not that they're not smart or anything, but it's a completely different culture. It's a completely different way of looking at the world. And so I know that I do miss my friends and I do want to talk to them. So that's an interesting conundrum, or an interesting insight into myself, that I am burnt out and I don't want to talk to family anymore, or relatives, or any kind of that sort of thing. But friends are all right. And when I had that kind of realization, I was sitting there, I was thinking to myself, that's really interesting, that's really weird. And that separation is something that I did not realize that as an INFJ or as an introverted person, I made in my head, or in my introvertedness. I had no idea that that is even a possibility. I didn't realize that we make these delineations between people, and we can be burnt out perhaps with our brother, but maybe not burnt out with our sister, or burnt out with our parents, but not burnt out with our siblings, burnt out with our friends, but not burnt out with our family, So there's all these really different, interesting layers or groups that we have created around us. And these different groups, we interact with them differently, and we have different levels of interactions with them. We have different levels of communications with them. We have different levels of introvertedness with them. I am more introverted around my family, because I need a lot more energy to deal with them. They suck a lot of energy out of me, because I allow them to, because I know they need it, and so I give to them, but then I get exhausted very fast. A lot of my friends, because I've chosen them very carefully, have picked them so that they don't suck a lot of energy out of me, I can hang out with them for a long period of time and not want to kill myself. But eventually I do get to a limit, to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm done and I need to go back and be on my own. But it comes later than it comes with my family. There are certain people in my life that I can hang out with for a long, long time and not want to kill someone. And one of them, as I've said before a lot of times, is my sister. She's an INTJ, and because she is an introvert and she hates people as much as I do, actually I think she hates people more than I do, and she's more introverted than I am, which is really crazy to me, which means that she spends a lot more time on her own. I know I can spend time with her, because basically what we're doing is we have our headphones on, or we're reading on our own, but we're just hanging out next to each other, which is like the perfect way for me to hang out with someone, especially when I'm burnt out, right? I wanted to share this with you guys, not because I think it's particularly fascinating. Maybe it is interesting to you. Maybe you guys are going to learn something from it. I thought that was really interesting for me specifically, because I hadn't had this insight before, and I, as you guys know, do watch myself a lot, and as you guys know, I do observe all these random things. I'm always reflecting on it, right? So I think it was fascinating to me. I don't know if it is to you. I thought it was really interesting. I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about it? Do you guys have these layers or tiers as I have? Do you have these different groups that you have formed around you that you interact differently with? Does that make sense to you guys, what I've just explained to you guys? Or is it something that's completely out of the question for you? Let me know. All my contact information, as I said, is in the description below, or you can obviously comment below and make it a public message, and so that people can learn from us and learn from you and learn from everyone. We can kind of form a forum, and we can teach each other, which is one of the best ways to learn anyways. Again, if you guys have any questions, let me know, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.